The story opens with a girl named Nimue in the forest. She hears whispers of the witches and a deer comes to her whispering death does not end, save them. When she asks save who, the deer dies from the arrow. Two boys come to her saying don't get close to this witch. Nimue is a witch and has powers but she doesn't like. When the boys said her father left them because she scared him off. Nimue remembers the moments she spent with her father and becomes angry. The roots of the tree are visible on her face and the boy's bow becomes a root and clings to his body. Her mother Lenore comes to make her stop and takes her to make the offering to the family. Elders of the tribe begin offering in front of the clan fire, then the sun is eclipsed. Then the hidden powers rise and surround Nimue and make her their new summoner. Nimue runs back into town and starts to leave, then a girl named Pim tries to stop her. Nimue tells her that she is going to Hawk Bridge to get the ship and both girls leave. The Red Paladin tribe led by Father Cardin burns a small town of witches and kills them without mercy. Cardin says that God sent us to kill demons to clean the earth. The Skyfolk tribe rescued a girl named Moonwing. She tells Lenore they're in red robes. They burned our trees and killed many of us, and the other survivors are killed by the Grey Monk. On the other hand, King Uther finds out that Father Cardin is killing the people of the witch tribes and other people are dying of famine. King calls the magician named Merlin. Merlin's magic has now disappeared and he only drunks. The king tells him that Father Cardin is killing people of your tribe and Merlin suggests only black magic can stop Cardin. King gets angry and orders him to do magic for rain and Merlin leaves saying I will redouble my efforts. Nimue and Pim reach the dockyard where Nimue asks a man about the ship. He tells her the ship left yesterday and will return after 6 months. Then they both go to town where Nimue and Pim meet Arthur, a swordsman who offers them a drink. Inside the bar when the three of them are talking, a man comes and asks Arthur to return his money which Arthur lost in a dice game. Nimue offers the man to play and the man says if you lose I'll kiss you. Nimue says if she wins she will take 10 silver coins. Both of them agree and the man tells her to roll the dice on number 7. Nimue uses her power and wins the first round. When she throws a second time he notices her magic and breaks his chair when he asks. Both girls run from there while the Red Paladin soldiers start chasing them. Girls hide behind the trees and lay down their horse. While they keep looking for the girls, Arthur also joins them. After a short time, soldiers leave the area and the trio starts moving. Merlin goes to Sword Collector who shows him a 3-faced baby. After seeing the child, Merlin says it's a sign of the new dawn and a great terrible war. At night Arthur and Nimue are playing swords and suddenly she falls and sees herself drowning and a witch showing her the sword. The next day Pim and Nimue head back to their camp but when they reach they see Red Paladins attacking their people. Nimue tries to find her mother and is caught by Father Cardin who orders his man to burn her. Suddenly someone attacks Red Paladin and Nimue escapes to find her mother. Her mother gives her a sword and tells Nimue to deliver the sword to Merlin and the man comes and kills her mother. She runs to take the sword and a pack of wolves attacks her. She then raises the sword and sees lightning power on it and kills all the wolves one by one. But when a Red Paladin's men attack her but she uses her powers and hangs the man with a tree. Father Cardin and the Grey Monk see their soldier who is hanging alive with a tree and Cardin orders their soldiers to find Nimue. When she arrives in Hawk's Bridge she sees Red Paladins are checking and she asks the teeth extractor to help her and becomes the patient of the man. During the check, the soldier orders the men to pull out her teeth for confirmation. Grey Monk captures Squirrel and at night when some people come to release Squirrel, Grey Monk kills them all and tells Squirrel to go and tell his clan that Grey Monk is coming. On the other hand, Nimue is announced to be captured and when she goes to look for Arthur, the same man with the dice is there. He recognizes her and tries to take the sword from her, but Nimue cuts off his hand, after which Arthur and Nimue escape. A witch meets with Merlin and tells him the Fae are on the way to extinction and if the church acquires the sword, they will decide who wears the crown. Merlin says, "Whosoever wields the sword of power shall be the true king," and tells her his magic is gone with the sword. The witch tells him to get back the sword if he wants his magic back and leaves. Arthur takes the sword while Nimue is sleeping and leaves to fulfill the dying wish. Arthur arrives in another kingdom to fight a swordsmanship and the sister tells Nimue that Arthur has taken your sword and it is safe for you to stay here. As she starts to run away, Cardin comes out with the same wounded soldier that Nimue had tied up with her magical powers. Nimue wears a nun's dress and comes inside the room where Cardin is saying that they found the sword of power. Cardin tells others Fae people are still alive and after they find the sword they will kill them all and magician Merlin. When Nimue leaves the Grey Monk notices and goes to check the nun's room and tells Cardin that she is here. Cardin asks Sister Nora have new girls joined the abbey this past week but when Nora assures him that nobody has joined, Cardin orders her to gather all the sisters. Arthur meets with Ector and tells about his skills and shows the sword of power and Ector asks him where you found this weapon. Arthur lies that he saved a girl from rich family and she gave rewarded him with the sword. When Ector and Arthur comes to drink, Boros arrives and tells Ector everything about Arthur, that he is a debater and a thief who stole this sword from a fey girl. Boros demands 300 silver coins and Ector gives him a ring. When Boros demands another, Arthur kills one of Boros' men. On the other hand, Grey, Monk and Cardan are checking girls. One of them tells Monk that a filthy girl joined last night. They come to find her, but Nimue escapes from there with the help of another sister. While Nimue is hiding, some fey people find her and take her, and Red Paladins catch Arthur in the Sword of Power. Merlin goes to meet Lord Rugen and he tells him that Father Cardan is searching for the sword and also King Uther. But if we work together we can find this sword and you will be the next Alexander. Rugen tells Merlin that King Uther has driven you out of his territory and now you have come to seduce me. But Merlin has to win his trust and gives the Torque of Ison, which she wore around her neck during the battle. Arthur escapes from Red Paladins while Father Cardan and the Grey Monk continue their killing streak. The horse carriage man drops Nimue and tells her to go towards the Greenwood, and after a few miles, you'll find us there. Nimue finds Arthur and asks him about the sword. Arthur tells her that the sword is in the hands of Red Paladins and they are moving toward Grammire. Nimue shouts at Arthur saying take there, otherwise she will kill him. We see Pym, who has escaped from Paladins, is now cleaning the floor and she meets with Guy, who offers her to get along. On the way, Nimue sees the same family who saved her, but they are killed by Red Paladins. She then finds the sword and uses the sword's power to fight against Red Paladin's soldier. She kills and cuts most of them, but one soldier makes her drown in the pond. Nimue again sees visions, but before she dies, Arthur reaches and slits the throat of a soldier and saves Nimue. After that, they find a little girl and they leave from there, seeing the signs. Cardan and Monk also reach the spot. Seeing this, Cardan says to Monk, the witch taunts you with your dead brothers. Then we see Iris, the little sister, burn the church and leave the place wearing a red cloak. Merlin steals Fey Fire, and when he is about to leave, Rugen goons start chasing him, but he escapes from there. Nimue, Arthur and the little girl reach to Fey people by following the tracks, and when Arthur asks where are we, Nimue says, Nemo's. Cumber Iceland King slits the throat of King Uther's soldier and takes 3 ports, Hasselings and the Dovers. When Uther finds out, he shouts, but his mother tells him that Cumber and the other kings are searching the Sword of Power to take control. His mother tells him to ally with Red Paladins and throw Cumber back into the sea, and then it'll easy to claim the sword. Arthur and Nimue come close, they take bath together and share past memories. Merlin is locked up in a prison where Uther orders him to give him the Sword of Power in 1 day or he will hang him. Nimue goes to meet with an old magician woman to meet Merlin. She tells Nimue to stay calm, the spirits will lead you to Merlin. The woman starts doing magic and Nimue sees visions of her leaving and says to her, you bring darkness into this family. Spirits takes her to Merlin, and when Merlin finds out she is Lenore's daughter, he tries to ignore her. Nimue asks him why her mother wants me to give this sword to you and how she knows you. Here we know that Nimue is the daughter of Merlin and the magic breaks. When Nimue is leaving to meet Merlin, his old friend Gawain stops her and tells that Monk burned their fields and this sword will help them to save their people. But Nimue doesn't listen to him and leave with Celia and Kays. Nimue meets with Merlin and Nimue asks why you left my mother and abandoned me, your own child. Merlin says we will talk about this later, but first you to give me this sword so we can spare you this threat. Nimue refuses to give him the sword and leaves, saying she wants to know everything first. Merlin then takes her back in time to when he was injured and goes inside the witch's room and her mother saw him. She cut his wound and took out the sword from his body. Then they start spending time and make their first love, and one day when Merlin tries to do magic, suddenly his power's gone. He realizes that his magic has been lost due to this sword, and when he goes back to the temple to find it, Lenore tells him that she threw the sword into the river, but Merlin shouts at her. They separate. Merlin says he wants to destroy the sword and Fey Fire you to release this burden, but then King Uther's force appears and Nimue escapes from there with her girls. A fight occurs between Red Paladins and the Fey people. Arthur and Gawain killing Red Paladins, and Nimue uses sword power to create a large smoke ball trapped in it. Red Paladins start killing each other. Nimue and other comes back to camp where Gawain says to Nimue that you are the only hope for our people. Nimue climbs up and encourages her people and shows them the sword, saying this is our hope, and become their leader. Merlin comes to visit Nimue, and Nimue introduces Merlin to her friends, saying that he is my father. He tells her that the sword is now linked with your fate and we've to work together to protect you and Faye. When Nimue asks what do you want, Merlin says I have bargained your life with King Cumber and you've to give him the sword. Merlin goes to King Uther and asks him to keep his promise to protect Nimue, but Uther enraged and stabs Merlin and throws him in the dungeon. Nimue hands over the sword to Celia and reaches to King Uther's camp. At night, after seeing the dead Gawain, Nimue uses her hidden powers from which their tents fly away. Monk fights with Trinity guards and escapes with Squirrel while Cardan tries to kill Nimue. A witch appears and gives her the sword. The witch goes inside Cardan, then Nimue slits Cardan's throat. Nimue and Celia quickly takes Merlin to save life, and on the way the little sister attacks Nimue. Nimue falls to the edge and Merlin holds her hand, but her hand slips and she falls into the river. Merlin then picks up the sword and all of his magical powers return. He uses his magic to kill all the red paladins. The little sister runs away in fear, and Merlin then takes Celia's hand and uses his magic to disappear. In the end, we see Grey Monk riding with a squirrel, and the little sister who killed Nimue now becomes a leader of the Trinity. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications to watch more videos like this.